All right, welcome everyone. So we're starting chapter 3. We have finally reached the much awaited prenatal development, the start to our journey of child development. So last time when we talked about biocultural foundations, we discussed the process of forming a zygote, right? We talked about how the ovum and the sperm fuse and create something called a zygote, and that starts our journey in prenatal development. We'll also start by saying that prenatal development lasts approximately 266 days. And during this time, it's quite literally going from a cluster of cells to a crying infant in your arms. And so that just shows how remarkable it is, right? During this 260-ish days, a ton of growth is occurring. We're going to talk all about it today. Specifically, we will talk about the 3 stages of prenatal development. So first one being germinal. The germinal period, at this point, the organism is referred to as a zygote. And then we have the embryonic period, we have an embryo. And then finally the fetal period, where it's called a fetus. So I'll also say that the developmental process can stop at any time. So 25% of pregnancies actually end before the mother even recognizes that they are pregnant. This is a sad reality of how, just kind of illustrates how fragile prenatal development can actually be. So we can think of it as a miracle that we're all here, right? And we'll talk about the various ways that this, prenatal development as a whole can be very sensitive and fragile, and things like timing will matter and other things. So let's get into it. We will start by talking about the germinal period. So this is actually, in terms of the timeline, it's only the first 8 to 10 days, the germinal period. So we only have a zygote for 8 to 10 days after conception. And what's occurring is the zygote is moving slowly through the fallopian tube into the uterus, toward the uterus. There's 2 processes here. So first we have cleavage. This is the cell division that's occurring, and hundreds of cells are formed once it reaches the uterus. We also have implantation. So this is the process of the organism attaching itself to the uterus wall. And we can actually kind of think of this as the end goal of this period. So successful implantation marks the transition between germinal period and the next period called the embryonic period. Timing is crucial. So if the zygote moves to the uterus a little too soon or a little too late, the uterine environment may not be hormonally prepared, so the organism may be terminated, meaning that it's no longer going to develop further into the other periods and no longer, form into what we know as infants. So again, that's just one example of how fragile prenatal development can be. So we'll actually end this here because I know that was kind of short, but embryonic period is going to be a little more lengthy, and we want to, make sure we have our own video for that. So we'll end here, but that is the first period, the germinal period. Again, it's rather short, but it is setting the stage for the rest of development, and it can be rather fragile, based on the timing that the zygote is moving to the uterus. So that's it for now. I will see you in the next video when we talk about the embryonic period. Thanks, everyone.